while he's here, is he going to see his dad?
Well, this is the thing.
We're
not going to be reporting on. We're not really going to be talking about the Invictus Games ceremony. We're all going to be asking, is he meeting his father? Is he meeting his brother?
His brother,
yeah.
And I mean, last time, and I think it did strike everyone. It told you everything you needed to know about William and Harry's relationship. He rushed over here to see the King after he announced his cancer diagnosis. Now, we all thought he was rushing over within 12 hours of the announcement. He might have found out, he probably did find out 3 or 4 days before us. But anyway, he came pretty much on the day or day after of the cancer announcement, was here for 24, 36 hours, did not see his brother. Now, you would have thought that the two brothers, whatever their differences, would have been able to get together and say, Dad's just told the world he's got cancer. You've come all the way over from California to see him. Let's go and have a chat about how we can put our own difficulties to one side. Did they? No, they didn't. So I think that's the other big question is now we've had this, and since then, obviously, Kate, in that video saying that she is also being treated for cancer. Is that a moment for Harry and William to kind of, be the big boys and just put all the stuff to one side and say, look, shall we just get together for everyone's sake and have a chat?
Well, they're going to be busy. So we're told the King and William are going to be busy next week. There's a couple of jobs, but we need to wait and find out, are they going to be too busy to meet Harry? Because Harry's going to have a bundle of jobs on next week.
Yeah, and he's not here for a long period of time, is he? He's only here for a couple of days and he's off to Nigeria, where incidentally Meghan is going to Nigeria, we've been told, but she's not at the St Paul's Cathedral service. What I haven't been able to work out yet, and it might come out in due course, is whether Meghan's going to be in the UK at all, because I'd imagine she'd have to could fly via London to get to Nigeria. So they're telling us that, no, she's not going to be at St Paul's Cathedral, but they're not saying anything to us when we say, well, is she going to be in the UK at all? Yeah. And then you get like silence back from them. So that remains to be seen. But if she's here, I mean, for example, where do they stay? They don't have Frogmore Cottage anymore. They've given that back to the Crown Estate. Will William and Kate put them up in one of their spare rooms? Highly unlikely, I think we'd all agree. But I think the key point is, I'm sure the King will make time for him. Apparently last time when he came over, the King did have to sort of rearrange his plans. He was going off to Sandringham. He had to sort of delay his helicopter movements and all the rest of it to see Harry, even though it was only for about half an hour. But at least they did get to see each other.
Well, last time, my understanding was, obviously, that the King had been having a lot of treatment, and so he couldn't be surrounded by lots of strangers or someone that flies 5,000 miles on a crowded aeroplane from another country, you know. So the doctors were like, well, you can't spend all this time with the King. They don't have the excuse this time. I mean, they can say that he's got a busy diary, but the kind of...
Yeah, but given how many members of the public he met the other day, or even outside, the crowds, although they're normally people who live on the Windsor estate, aren't they? But the crowds outside the Easter service, he met all of them, so they can't say that about Harry. So clearly his doctors are happy that his immunity is much better now than it was. And you do, I mean, I was one of the cancer patients I was speaking to at the hospital the other day saying, you do have this sort of dip when you just first have your chemo, when your immunity is very low, you can't see anybody, and then, you get better again. So it depends, again, we don't know the detail of the King's treatment. It depends whether Harry's visit coincides with an up or a down on the King's risk level. But you kind of think he would see his dad, wouldn't you, given everything that's going on? I mean, you remember that interview that Harry did with, I think it was ABC News, at the Invictus event on the ski slopes in Canada. And he said, look, my diary will bring me back to the UK or through the UK. Clearly he was referring to this at the time. And he would see his father.
Yeah, I mean, I think people would... I think Sun readers particularly would like Harry to kind of reconcile with his family, but I think they would maybe expect Harry to apologise or do some kind of,
The difficulty is, you remember last time that they went to St Paul's Cathedral, which was for the Queen, the late Queen's Platinum Jubilee, they got booed. A lot of people said on Twitter, no, you're making it up, you royal correspondents are, fabricating the story. Absolutely not. We heard the boos for them. We also heard the boos for Boris Johnson at the time as well, who was highly unpopular over Partygate and stuff. We should be clear, there are also people cheering for them, but there were definitely boos at St Paul's Cathedral. So going back there, I can see why Meghan may not wish to accompany Harry for that particular visit.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Why isn't Meghan coming? Because I know it's Archie's birthday 2 or 3 days before. She used that excuse for the coronation that she couldn't come, so maybe she's having a big birthday party. But as you point out, she is going to Nigeria.
Yeah, exactly. And that probably tells you what you need to know about Meghan's thoughts about the UK and what a terrible time she had when she was here. So.
Yeah, I mean, I have said this before that I think she might get booed, but I think that if she does come over, I think the popularity of the pair of them has gone so far south since they've gone to America. Well, before they went to America, I think people were very sympathetic. The more they've heard their story, people have gradually switched off. But it's easier maybe then for Harry to go see his father, not maybe his brother, but go see his father if Meghan isn't here. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, I mean, the relationship's very difficult, isn't it, within that family? And I think, yes, it would be a lot easier if Meghan weren't there. But you know, it is still the king's daughter-in-law. And they still have 2 children who are the king's grandchildren. So you would kind of hope that they could still see each other. I mean, wouldn't it be nice if they did actually bring the kids and they all went to see Grandad, because that would really give him a boost. As much as we said the hospital the other day, I think gave him a massive boost. And funny enough, the Lord Lieutenant of London, the guy who welcomes the king when he gets out of the car, Sir Ken, he was telling me that he had cancer in 2016, and you get highs and lows, psychological highs and psychological lows, he said, with cancer. And that visit the other day would have given the king a real boost, a real high, which really helps with your treatment. I kind of would have thought, just imagine if Harry and Meghan came over with the grandchildren, he got to see them, or one of them, for the very first time. So that would be quite something.
Look, take away the news that we write and stuff like that. Just on a family situation, you would like them to be friends and like them to see his grandchildren. You say probably have a huge boost. Absolutely, I think you're right. Totally.
Especially someone who's got cancer, and we don't know his diagnosis, we don't know the severity of it, but having cancer is a very uncertain moment in anyone's life. And I think that would give him a massive boost. Yeah.
I think just my point of view is that possibly without a home, without somewhere to stay, Meghan feels that maybe she can't. This is just my view, that maybe she feels that does she want to take her kids and put them in a hotel?
Again, you say these things like this. Dad's got enough spare rooms. He's got Clarence House, he's got Buckingham Palace. If he's at Sandringham, it's definitely big enough for a couple of guests. There's Highgrove. Anywhere that he is, there'll be a big enough room to accommodate Meghan, Harry, and the kids. So let's
look forward to Harry.
Yeah.
We will wait and see if Meghan transfers on the way, but they're going to Nigeria.
Yes.
We don't know much about this Nigeria trip.
No, it's just a defence official, isn't it, or a defence minister in Nigeria has confirmed it. It's about looking at the legacy of the Invictus Games. Why Nigeria? Absolutely no idea, really. But it's a Commonwealth country, as we all know. Yes, but I just think it's really interesting that Meghan is able to join Harry for that Invictus bits of his little tour, but not the London bit.